Hi, I'm Evan and welcome back to the Canvas Tutorial Show. Back with another 2-minute tip on how you can use headings to create cleaner content inside your assignments, your pages, and your discussion posts. Anything really with the rich content editor. Let's get started. Here I have an article, and all I did was I grabbed the text of this article that I want my students to read, and I'll make sure I throw in the URL to show where that content is coming from. But I want them to read this, and it's well laid out already. They've done a good job, but there's ways that we can make it better. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click up here in this upper right where it says edit, get into my page. Now remember, a page is meant to be content that the student is interacting with one directionally. They are receiving content of some sort. They're reading, they're watching, maybe even they're listening to something, but it's not two-way communication. They're not putting anything out like doing an assignment or taking a quiz or responding in any way. Those post types you would use discussion posts or quizzes or assignments. Okay, so for page, keep it with one directional communication from you to the student. But going back to here, one of the things, the key things that I could do is use headings. Okay, so I'm using the old rich content editor, but in the toolbar here, here on the right side, you see this drop down menu that says paragraph, header 2, header 3, header 4, and pre-formatted. Okay, in the new rich content editor, it's over here on the left, and paragraph is actually at the bottom. Okay, just some notes about headings. These headings are actual computer code. They're HTML, and they are used by other computers, by screen readers and other programs to read the content, to know what's important, to know how the content is organized. And so it's more than just increasing the size. Using headers appropriately is a key tool in having accessible pages. And accessible means that another computer can read it appropriately. And so the title up here, that is going to be coded in as H1 or heading 1, and that tells the computer that it's the title of the page. Okay, and so if I have other content, so let's say I have right here, I want to turn this into a heading. I'm going to highlight it, click down on header 2. Okay, and since it's a header, I'm going to go ahead and capitalize each of the letters, each of the words, and you don't need to underline it or anything else like that. Canvas does a fairly good job of doing that. And one of the things is that if you do decide, oh, I'm going to bold it, it was already bolded, or I'm going to change the color to make it easy for my students to really see it. Every time you change that, you're going to have to go in and do that. So that's an extra step you're going to have to take. It's going to make your job a little bit harder. So I encourage you, just as often as possible, if you can just use the basic built-in, actually that should be no color. It keeps clean code and it makes it a lot easier for you. So if I were doing this article, I would come in here and I would turn each one of these into heading 2. But let's say that this next paragraph right here is actually part of this bigger section. Well, then I would just use a header 3, and that's what that means. It's basically a form of like an outline, and so that when the student reads it, they would see that header 3s belong inside of header 2. So if I don't have any header 2s in my content, then I really shouldn't have any header 3s. Okay, it's kind of like having an outline with a 1 and no 2. Then you don't really need the 1. Anytime you have the A, you need the B. And so here you can see the output of this. It's just made the content a little bit cleaner. It chunks it for students to be able to identify where they're working better. And just what I was pointing out there, you can see that here, this is a header 2. I didn't unbold it, but I should have. And then these are header 3s. And you can go and do header 4s as well. And although it's not built into the dialog, but the toolbar here, you can actually use header 5s. I'm sorry, you can actually use header 5s. And so all you would do is you go to the HTML code and you can change it to H5. It should produce the appropriate style. Let's take a look, and it did. You can see it's really small right there, but it's still a header. But again, if you have a header 5, that means you've had it, that it's inside a header 4, which is inside of 3, 2, and so on and so forth. And so today we've learned how to use headers so that we can make our content cleaner. If you haven't followed the group or follow the show or join the Facebook group, make sure you type in @CanvasTuts. And if this tutorial has been helpful, please share it out to your colleagues. Have a great day.